Welcome back. In this session we're going to make the sky and the ground for our birch tree composition. So now that you have your tape in and you have a variety of different sizes of tape and you have a variety of lengths of your tree, you just take a pencil and do a little horizon line in here. It doesn't have to be very detailed or thick. Don't draw heavily. But you want to make sure that your horizon line is above your trees, so that the trees are rooted in the ground. Then to get started, you're going to want to make a few washes. I'm going to make a couple light blue washes for the sky, just to kind of cover the sky with washes. And then I'm going to make a couple light greenish yellow washes, since this is kind of a spring-summer picture. The spring-summer pictures are usually, very yellow green rather than darker green. In the end of the summer, the greens turn a little darker with a little bit more red in them. So I'm going to be doing a light green. So here's my bluish wash for the sky. Notice I'm using the turquoise blue. And then here's a little yellow green. I'm going to just try to get most of this yellow out of here. And actually that turquoise that was on my brush will make a pretty nice yellow green just left over. Okay, so there you go. If you were mixing that with a clean brush, I would say use a little bit of your yellow and then use a little bit of the yellow green, and that would make it work out. And now I just want to quickly splash this through the sky, leaving a couple places empty that will become the clouds here. And make sure your clouds continue behind your trees. Don't just make little round clouds in between trees. Try to make your clouds go behind the trees. So if I do a little demonstration of what that might look like, if I take my brush and I just go right over all of those trees, okay, you'll notice that that cloud goes behind all of those trees, which is what we want. That will give us continuous clouds through the painting, and it will bring a little unity to the sky between the paintings. So here we go. Just going to finish putting the paint over this, and what's happening here is the color is going to absorb into the paper and make it such that when we take off the tape, it will leave the white of the birch trees. So this is a masking technique that you can use, whether you're using masking fluid or masking tape. This is the great thing to do. So there you go. There's my clouds. You can kind of see them in the background. And now I want to put in the yellow green in the grass below here. And I'm just going to, again, fill this whole area in with the yellow green. Okay, we want to have a nice even color that we can add other colors onto and splash wet on wet colors into as we go. And if right here you see that the sky starts to bleed down a little bit, that's okay. You can let that happen. A little spontaneity will help out and make your picture look more fluid, which is not a bad thing. But if that's bugging you, you can always take one of your blotting paper towels and blot it out. As long as you blot it quickly, that won't overpower your grass too much. Okay, so there you go. I just blotted it. And then just be a little carefuler when you come back and lay that yellow green next to it. Okay, and as you see, I'm needing to replenish my yellow green as I go through the process here. And the yellow green is changing a little bit based on me not adding enough of the green or the blue back into it. It's turning a little bit more yellow, which is okay. If you have a variety of yellow greens, that's just fine. Okay. Now this is just the initial wash that we have in our picture. And from that initial wash, we're going to splash a little bit of extra color over it now that it's all laid in. Okay, and you can see that I've pretty much covered every square inch of that paper. All right, and now I'm going to take the time to splash in some colors. You can see in this picture I've got some violet up here in the sky. I've got darker green here and a lighter yellow green here, which will give us variety in color. So I'm going to take just a little of this bluish purple here on my brush and splash it up into the sky. Okay, so that I'm having a little variety in my sky. And usually the sky gets darker the higher up it gets and lighter down near the horizon. Okay, so if you splash a little darker color up in the top and let it run down, that'll kind of look nice. Sometimes underneath the clouds it gets a little darker depending where the sun is. So there, that'll give us a little variety in the sky. And then here on the grass, I'm going to get some of this yellow green out of here and splash it through. And some dark green, splash that through. And notice that I'm kind of trying to be loose with this and let the colors run together and let the greens kind of become ubiquitous together and overlap. Then the viewer will not see this area as yellow-green, but they'll really see it as green, and it'll come off as green. Even if you splash some pure yellow in, if I take my brush and clean it off real well and get just pure yellow and splash some pure yellow in right there, the viewer is going to see that as green. Even though you're using pure yellow, the visual mixing of it will turn it to green. And you'll notice how I've taken this green swash right here to kind of pull the eye this way, and then I have these bands of color that will pull the eye back and forth, and I have pretty strong horizontals coming through in the grass, horizontals this way and this way, because our trees are going to be so incredibly vertical. Okay, so there we go. I would say that's pretty finished with the idea of the sky and ground. We have the horizon line a little bit above the middle. We've got a variety of color in the sky along with our clouds, and we have a variety of greens down here in the grasses. In the next session, once this is dry, we'll take the tape off and put in the flowers.